Welcome to From the Bleachers. I'm your host, as always, Shamus Clancy, coming to you from the wonderful Bleeding Green Nation Radio Podcast Network. Now, this is the second episode of From the Bleachers dropping this week. I did one earlier in the week. I'm recording this late Thursday afternoon, so the 88th episode, I did 88 already, of From the Bleachers dropped on Thursday. You're probably listening to this on Friday. And as I talked about on that podcast, certainly going to plug it now this Saturday. So if you're listening to this on Friday, tomorrow, 1306 Walnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia, myself and Alonzo Jones will be doing a live episode of Odds and End Zones at the iconic, legendary Mitchell & Ness store. Come out, buy some vintage Eagles gear, and if you buy $150 worth of Mitchell & Ness merch, maybe you get a hoodie, a t-shirt, a snapback, a knit hat, you will be eligible for a giveaway to win 2 tickets to the Eagles-Washington game next month. And as I said in the last podcast, if you win those tickets, you can tailgate with me for free. So, and then also, if you can't make it out there, we will be streaming live on the BGN YouTube channel. The link to the BGN YouTube channel will be in the podcast description. So go subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Earlier podcast in the week, episode 88, talked about the Eagles going to Denver to play the Broncos. Kind of an overview, talking about Teddy Bridgewater as a player, talking about the Broncos defense, how the Eagles could have an effective run game against Denver the same way they've had the last 2 weeks against Detroit and Los Angeles, respectively. But as this week was going on, my mind kept coming back to Teddy Bridgewater, not just because he's playing the Eagles, but because he played an integral role in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles. As a casual observer, you might not think that. You might not understand why. But in a total butterfly effect, domino effect, insane, wild twist of fate, Teddy Bridgewater is, to a severe degree, responsible for the Eagles winning the Super Bowl and for being on the current trajectory that the franchise is currently on. Take it back a little bit. Go back in the time machine, way back machine. Teddy Bridgewater is the 32nd pick in the first round of the 2014 NFL draft by the Vikings. Goes 6-6 as a starter in 2014. Okay for a rookie. 2015 goes 11-5. The Vikings host a home playoff game. They lose, but Bridgewater makes the Pro Bowl. Going into 2016, the Vikings, they have a good defense, believe they're legitimate Super Bowl contenders. And they're going through training camp, going through preseason. They're small on themselves. They're gassing themselves up. They think they have a legitimate shot to win the whole darn thing. And hats off to you. It's a preseason training camp. Let that optimism run wild. On August 30th, 2016, so not even in like the full preseason mode, you're getting ready for week 1. I believe week 1 that season was on Sunday, September 11th. August 30th, 2016, an event happens, and I'm not rooting for these things to happen. It's unfortunate what happened to Bridgewater, and he's battled through a lot in his career. Hats off to him for coming back and having a successful career since then. 5-4, the Broncos are 5-4 right now. Bridgewater 15-4 touchdown interception ratio, playing pretty well. But Bridgewater on August 30th, 2016 suffered a catastrophic knee injury. Goes down in 11-on-11 drills, dislocates his knee, tears his ACL, and suffers legitimate structural damage in his knee. You see videos of Vikings players dropping to their knees, screaming, running away. They know it's a devastating, devastating injury. And I can't imagine what that felt like for Bridgewater himself and for his teammates who all believed in Teddy, who all believed in that team that they could have done something special. And with Bridgewater being out, the Vikings said to themselves, we still believe in the rest of this roster. We need to do something. We need to add a quarterback. Let's switch from Minnesota to Philadelphia. After the 2015 season, Chip Kelly is gone. Sam Bradford is a free agent, but the Eagles retain him and sign him to a new contract. Despite this, they trade up in the 2016 NFL draft to leapfrog twice, up to the second overall pick, take Carson Wentz, quarterback out of North Dakota State. Sam Bradford, Obviously very unhappy about the development. But at that time, the Eagles' plan was, hey, Wentz played FCS ball, had some injuries in his career. Let's do a little redshirt year. We have Bradford. We think we can compete this year. Maybe Bradford plays well, and we trade him for a nice pick next offseason. And then Carson comes in, and he's the guy, and he's had that NFL experience, just being around the team, being in the NFL organization, in the building, the NovaCare, learning the playbook, all of those things. We're going to put the training wheels on him and let him ride this out. And hopefully we have our franchise quarterback for the next 10 years. But Bradford, very unhappy with this development. And being an Eagles fan, everyone was over the moon excited about Wentz. I mean, who really wanted to watch Bradford play? No one really did. Everyone was amped about Wentz. And we're at that time in the NFL where things are different than they were 15, 20 years ago. It's not super common for quarterbacks to sit out an entire year and sit out their entire rookie season. I mean, Patrick Mahomes did, but that's a rarity now in the modern NFL. So we're thinking Wentz is going to kind of do that redshirt thing. And what happens? Bridgewater goes down with that injury. And just a few days later, Labor Day weekend, remember I was going to a Labor Day party. And I got this notification in the Uber to the party from Adam Schefter, push notification on Twitter. September 3rd, 2016. The Vikings, they think they're a quarterback away from contending. And the Eagles have a quarterback who's bounced around a lot, had a lot of different coaches. People, for some reason, still really believed in that guy. That guy was Sam Bradford. What do the Vikings do? They pay for Sam Bradford. They fork over a ton of draft capital to acquire Bradford because they think they can win the championship this year. The Vikings trade a 2017 first-round pick and a 2018 fourth-round pick for Sam Bradford. What a haul. That's peak Howie Roseman right there. The trade maniac. Drafting record, not too great, especially as of late. But for trades and maximizing value, we saw this past offseason, getting that juicy 2022 unprotected Miami Dolphins pick that's going to be top 5, maybe top 3, how he can win trades. And he certainly won that trade. It's a trade that changed the trajectory of not just the Eagles season, but if you're listening to this, you're probably an Eagles fan, definitely an Eagles fan, probably I should say a gigantic Eagles fan. And because of that trade, your life will never be the same again. Because what happens? What's the domino effect from Sam Bradford leaving, going to Minnesota, and Carson Wentz being the week 1 starter for the 2016 season as rookie's first NFL game? Hey, you're not sitting out this year anymore. Hey, buddy, you're QB1 right now. Number 11 in your program's number 1 on the depth chart. You're QB1. What happens? Eagles get off to what, a 3-0 start. Wentz plays really well early. Rest of the season, not too great, up and down, but some moments where you're thinking this guy's legit. And Doug Peterson, Frank Reich, they get a year of developing Carson Wentz with true on-field experience. He's not sitting out. He's not just doing practice reps. He's getting concrete, legitimate NFL experience. He's playing reasonably well. And using that experience, both as Peterson and Reich and the whole coaching staff, their first season together, Doug's first season in Philly, Reich's first season in Philly, they work out the kinks a little bit. So does Wentz. And they come back. They know what they do well. They know what they don't do well. They know what they need to fix to take that leap from a good team to a great team. And what happens in 2017? We all know what happens in 2017. The Eagles go out there. Doug Peterson looks like Bill Walsh. Carson Wentz looks like Brett Favre. Throws out an MVP caliber season. And it's because of that experience he got in 2016 that he was able to play at that level in 2017. And we know what happens in 2017. Wentz plays unbelievably, allows the Eagles to clinch the number 1 overall seed in the NFC, home field advantage throughout the playoffs, before he suffers a catastrophic injury of his own, equivalent to some degree to what Bridgewater suffered. And we know what happens then. Nick Foles comes in. He takes over this team, stacked team, number 1 seed in the NFC about to be. wins the Super Bowl, wins the whole darn thing. And the Eagles do not win that Atlanta Falcons game. They do not win those games if they don't have home field advantage because of what Carson Wentz did that season, first 13 games of the season, going 11-2, doesn't get hurt, wins MVP. All because Teddy Bridgewater, who's battled back in his career, rebounded, doing well this season, one play in August 2016 at Minnesota Vikings practice went awry. And because that play went awry, the Eagles ended up winning the Super Bowl. That's the NFL. That's sports. That's the improbability of life, where the smallest, seemingly negligible instant action moment can completely change things. Talk about going, in a science fiction movie, going back in time. Don't step on a bug because that could change the trajectory of human history. And Teddy Bridgewater suffers that terrible, terrible injury. And from that moment, the Eagles franchise was never the same. They go and win the Super Bowl because of that injury, because it gives Carson Wentz the experience, because they get that draft capital. They use that 2017 pick on Derek Barnett. And obviously, Derek Barnett's playing terribly this season in 2021. But Barnett recovers the fumble and the legendary strip sack from Brandon Graham on Tom Brady in Super Bowl 52. That trade doesn't happen. Derek Barnett's not there to pick up that ball. Maybe a Patriots, somehow, some way, the Eagles make it back anyway. Derek Barnett's not there. A Patriots player falls on the ball. And then Tom Brady goes in and scores, and they win in overtime. All of those types of things. It's because of the Bradford trade. It's because of that Bridgewater injury. And credit to Bridgewater for coming back and battling through all of that. Again, playing well enough this season to have a 5-4 record for the Broncos. But if that moment doesn't happen, again, if that play doesn't go wrong, that moment in practice doesn't end in, catastrophic injury. And it's terrible for Bridgewater, and sure, it was terrible for people in the Vikings organization. But if not for that, our lives are completely different. Maybe I'm not doing this podcast. Maybe you're not even listening to Eagles podcast in general. You just tuned out. Maybe the Wentz era never even reaches any sort of high. Maybe not even the highs we had in 2019. Maybe everything's, goes bottom up. Maybe Sam Bradford's still here, still being mediocre as ever. We don't know. We'll never know. That's what we're talking about in this butterfly effect, domino effect. Eagles play Teddy Bridgewater on Sunday, 2 days away. Well, 3 days from me, 2 days from when you're listening to this probably. And weird. Teddy Bridgewater, somehow, some way, one of the most, I want to say important, but integral figures in Eagles lore for that specific injury, has created an effect that, again, has, without parallel, changed all of our lives. Yeah, I'm not like celebrating this injury, obviously, just the way things played out. And, when I think of Bridgewater, I don't think of the former Vikings quarterback as a player, or Panthers or a Broncos quarterback as a player. I think back to that moment that, is the stepping on a bug and going back in time to the Jurassic era and accidentally stepping on a bug, and now people have flying cars. That's the equivalent of way things change for the Eagles franchise from that injury. That'll wrap it up for me. Just did a quick one. I thought that's interesting fact, an intriguing element to consider, especially for Eagles fans who may not think back to that or realize the importance of it. But Bridgewater's out there doing well now. But that one moment somehow, some way led to monumental, what would you call it in the MCU? That was a nexus event. That was a nexus event that gave the Eagles the path, the vision to eventually win the Super Bowl. That's it for me. Shamus Clancy. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Shamus_Clancy. Follow the Bleeding Green Nation Instagram at Bleeding Green Insta. And again, I'll say it a million times. Come to Mitchell and S on Saturday. Give us some Eagles takes. Hop on the pod, maybe. We're gonna be happy to have everyone there. Come out, have fun, buy some retro gear, maybe win some tickets to an Eagles game next month. And also, if you can't make it, you can stream it live on YouTube. It'll be on your podcast platform of choice afterwards, for sure. We'll have it before the Eagles game recording from 2 to 4. So you'll probably have it maybe late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. You can listen to it before the 4 o'clock Eagles game. And we are streaming the podcast if you can't make it there. I stream all my podcasts from the Bleachers, Odds and End Zones on the BGN YouTube channel. So you always check us out on there. See me now. I'm wearing a nice Mitchell Ness. I'm repping Sixers windbreaker I got on. And there was some news, there's some rumors that a new X-Men animated show is dropping in 2 years, starting production soon, of the X-Men, my favorite comic book property of all time. I'm wearing my Mutant U Wolverine X-Men hat right now. Matches the black and blue and red of throwback Sixers colors perfectly. So if you want to see that, check out the YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up, a like, leave a nice comment, subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe, and potentially come down to Mitchell Ness on Saturday. Thank you all, guys, girls, however you identify yourself. And as always, keep leading.